All right, the special meeting of the mayor in the city of Port Allen, Louisiana. Today is Monday, March 29th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. Please be advised that due to the public health emergency caused by COVID-19 virus, the following requirements will be enforced at the city council meeting. Anyone entering the building must wear a mask. Enter into the council chamber will be limited to 75% of maximum capacity, with all occupants sitting in designated seats. Each person must decide before entering the chamber which agenda item they wish to comment on. If they are not seated in the chamber when the agenda item is heard, they will be notified by an officer to enter the council chambers to address that agenda item. Agenda call to order. Please silence all electronic devices. Agenda item number 1, please stand for a pledge. Chief, gonna lead us in the pledge? Yes, sir. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Agenda item 2, roll call.
Mr. Gordon? Mr. Hubble?
Here.
Mr. Brown?
Here.
Ms. Lacy? Here. Mr. Riviere? Here.
Thank you, ma'am. Agenda item 3, public comments. Comments from the public are allowed in accordance with the Louisiana Revised Statute 42:11 and Section 2 through 34, and specifically limited to an agenda item to be considered during the meeting. 3 minutes per person and 15 minutes per topic. Agenda item 4, consider authorizing Mayor Lee to engage Gallagher Insurance to serve as the city's agent for the provision of health insurance products for April the 1st through 2021 to March 31st, 2022, policy terms. I have representatives from Gallagher, Mr. Will Chapman, and Andrew Olin. You're going to come up to the mic, introduce yourself to the council.
I am Will Chapman with Gallagher Benefit Services. I'm an area vice president here in the Baton Rouge area. Andrew?
Andrew Olin, a benefits consultant for Gallagher.
Okay. Well, Will, why don't you start off by giving us an idea of what you want to offer the city for health insurance?
Yeah, we've been discussing with the mayor the options available with the different carriers and what's available in the market. And I think y'all have discussed this quite a bit as well and have seen some of the options available. At the end of the day for this year, United Healthcare seems to be the best option for the April 1st renewal. Going forward in the future, hopefully there's a whole host of other options that we can be presenting that are competitive. I know in the past we've had favorable renewals with the other carriers. And with United Healthcare, this year we've had kind of a tough claims year, which makes it a little bit difficult. And what we've been seeing through the time working with the mayor, there are some better claims that have been coming through. January and February look better, and I think that's new claims numbers than anybody's probably seen recently, and they are on the good trend. So hopefully, you know, if it's 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now, that we're able to go back to market and look at options, that we can show something better than what we're currently looking at. And of course, you know, the way to get, once you're just looking at one carrier and you got a renewal and we have this big increase, the way to offset that is with some benefit changes. Popular thing to do. Employees and the retirees generally, you know, don't like benefit changes, but we also don't like 40% increases. So it's finding that balance of, do we look at benefit changes to offset the increase, or do we stay with the rates that we currently have that are being offered in renewal? And then is there any kind of change in rate structure contribution based upon the city? And so it really comes down to a decision of, do we change benefits to get better rates, or do we stay in the same situation we have with this renewal and renew as is with United Healthcare, and continue to, it's our job to monitor claims, make sure to see what's going on, have that constant conversation with the city, and be able to, at the right and opportune time, make that adjustment to another carrier if it works that way. Any questions for us?
When you say as is, I guess the proposal you presented us
Yes.
a couple weeks ago?
Yeah, so there's, and I know United Healthcare throughout the renewal process has slowly tried to dwindle, the increase was 1, I think it's come down some, but it's still, where it's at right now is at around that 38%, if I remember correctly, where the increase is overall. So it's a decision of, do we want to make benefit changes, or do we want to stay with what we have right now? And that's when it's tough, is when you get that big increase in making those decisions. And in a lot of cases, what we will advise is looking at a 4th plan option. We have 3 options right now, maybe looking at adding another plan that will help the employees. Because anytime there's a big increase, usually is when we see more options being offered, so that the employees can take a little bit more control and can make a decision that fits for their health care better.
So you saying you're gonna shop the market and give us the best?
Every time. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And right now, we're kind of, with the claim situation, in a situation we have with United Healthcare where they are the best for right now, even with that big increase. That's not always going to be the case. And usually when you see the best time to move to a different carrier, it's not when you have a bad claims year. It's when you have a better claims year. That's when it's that time to really shop the market, as well as looking at, okay, we had a bad claims year, but through that renewal process, we're trending in the right direction, and let's look at potentially jumping to another carrier at that point. It's a strategy that year looked at, and not just at renewal. We need to be discussing it throughout the year so that we make sure we're staying on the right path. And when the time's right is when it needs to occur. And different insurance companies have different renewal philosophies. And that's another thing to discuss is, United Healthcare has one way of doing it. Humana has one way. Blue Cross has a totally different way. So it's finding the right time to make a jump to the carrier and knowing what their renewal process is and what their methodology is when it comes to how they handle renewals.
This is what I'm about to ask you, may not even be doable. I understand you guys, the representatives of the parish, the town of Brewley, the city of Adams. Is it even possible for us, all 4 of those entities, to get together and just do one huge, relatively speaking, larger group? Is that even possible?
That was done through Blue Cross here in Louisiana. There was a I don't want to call it association, but it was kind of an association health plan that LMA had put together. And then it was, I want to say 10, 11, 12 years ago that it went away. And it went away because it just didn't fit when the Affordable Care Act came out. Some things changed, some rules where they couldn't do it. And I think I don't know all the specifics exactly of why it went away at that time, but everybody went on their own and got their own policies. All the municipalities went out on their own. This is something that we've worked with LMA and some of the others involved to try to put something like that together again. I don't know if you could regionally do one like you're talking about. I think it might have to be through an organization like LMA, but that has definitely been discussed. It's, it's been where it's been kicked down the road, or maybe next year, maybe next year, maybe next year, but it is being discussed.
Currently being.
And it is.
Risk management?
As it stands now, you're talking about a 38% increase on us versus the 40 we were previously presented.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the only way to get that down is to reduce benefits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we do have ways to, and you know, we have a presentation that I can where we can discuss through those benefit changes. That was going to be kind of the next thing, where you can do some small tweaks to the coverage. And some of it, you know, I say small tweaks, it might be a bigger tweak in some areas. What we don't want to do is, typically in this situation, is to have, you know, we want to keep doctor copays, we want to keep prescription copays, we want to keep those urgent care copays consistent, kind of where they've been. It's where the tweaks come in is it could potentially be on a network, or it could be on the out-of-pocket maximum. And usually, and this isn't always the case, most times those little tweaks aren't going to be a severe effect on the folks that are on the plan. Some, they're going to feel it because that out-of-pocket maximum up. But it is finding that ground to where you go, okay, we're going to make small changes here to try to get the price down. So that's where it comes into play. Is it a benefit change we make, or do we just take the renewal and find it? And those small benefit changes can get the price down, you know, 10%, whatever it might be. And so if it's okay, we have a copy of it we can hand out. Yeah. Thank you. And I know, you know, just to kind of hit the highlights, I know we have currently a base plan, we have a buy-up plan and a buy-down plan. And one of the things we incorporate in here is you'll see a fourth plan, which is like a second buy-down plan. And what we're trying to do is take that $120,000 increase that's occurring for the city, get it down, as well as trying to not mess with the benefits too much on the main things that are being used, as well as try to give the employees a little bit of savings. So it's a challenge. It's a challenge, but this is within United Healthcare the best option there is. So we kind of put together where you can see on the first page, and I'm not going to, you know, I can go line by line, but what I can also do is show you the differences in the current base plan to what this option one is right there. And the base plan is the one that 28 of the employees are currently enrolled in. And if we look, really the changes in the base, that's the renewal plan, versus this option one, you can see the doctor copays are the same. The big difference is outpatient hospital services. So instead of having it where, you know, it's deductible co-insurance no matter what outpatient facility you go to, this one is where if you go to a freestanding facility, it's the same as it is now, deductible co-insurance. But if you go to a hospital for that MRI, might be a knee surgery or something like that that's outpatient, then you would pay a $250 copay plus the deductible and co-insurance. So it's a way to try to curb the cost a little bit, because typically it's more expensive if you don't use a freestanding facility. So the employee still has a chance of keeping the same benefit as long as we as long as we go to a freestanding facility instead of services. So it gives them the choice to use either one. The urgent care copay is the same, the prescriptions are the same, deductible is the same. The other difference is the out-of-pocket. It's $2,000 more than the current $4,000, so it is $6,000, and you have the same co-insurance at 20%. But it does, if you look at the bottom, it reduces it 14% by doing those benefit changes. And like I was saying, this is where the decision is, do we tweak benefits or do you keep the same plan? On the next page, we put together a comparison so that you can see the cost options here of what we've been paying on this plan currently, what the renewal would have cost, as well as what option 1 would cost as a difference. So you can see the price savings there. Really, the big thing is if we look, you go employee cost was $36,000 a year currently. The renewal puts it at $50,000 a year for employees. This option puts it at $45,000 for the employees. Currently is $183,000 for the city cost. It's going to $253,000. And this plan, that option 1 would be $220,000. So it's trying to find those changes in the benefits that aren't, I like keeping, and we like keeping constant with the prescriptions, the doctor's visits. Those are the things that typically are used the most. So keeping those as consistent as possible. And we did. We kept them exactly the same with just a few little tweaks on the benefits. The big change is that out-of-pocket maximum going up $2,000. That's the big change. That's how the prices, you get the price savings. Any questions about the compare? I know that's a lot to digest really quickly here.
So if I'm looking at it right, like the renewal base plan, the employee cost is $50,550. Is that right? And with the option 1 base plan, that would be more out of pocket.
A little bit more out of pocket, yes, sir.
And then, so it'll be $45,491. That's a savings of whatever it was, $5,000 and some change. Divide that by the 27 or 28 employees. That's $180 per year.
Correct.
Per employee. To me, just to run the numbers, divide that by 12. $15 a month savings if I'm doing that right. For
You're correct.
$15 a month. To me, it's the benefit. I don't know if it's worth that trade-off.
Right, and that's the decision, right?
Yeah.
Is finding if, because it was, we went in and found the closest. You can get drastic with this,
Right.
and you can really show some drastic savings. However, a little bit much when it comes to the benefits whenever we're going from a base plan with a $1,500 deductible to a base plan of $4,000 deductible. And that's really what it would take to see a significant difference. And like you said, whenever the city's paying 85% of the employee cost, you really have to have a really less expensive plan before it really starts changing those numbers for that 15% portion. And this one, really, when it is that way and the city's at 85% and everything's based on this base plan, most of the savings in the base plan is going to be derived to the city. You see that, so you can see that's where a lot of those savings come in. Any questions? The next page is where we look at the buy-up plan. And you can see here, we kept the benefits consistent. Everything stays consistent. The change there's 2 changes in this plan. One is that the out-of-pocket is $2,000 more, just like on that first page. The other is that one way to drive some savings is in the network. So you'll see at the bottom it says excludes Mayo Clinic with an asterisk that goes back to option 1. On this plan, United Healthcare excludes Mayo Clinic from the coverage. It would be considered out of network. So you'd pay higher cost of using the Mayo Clinic. So that's one tweak to the benefit as well as the out of pocket. Beyond that, everything else stays the same. Not a huge savings, but there is savings there. And if you look at the next page is where we break this one down so that you can see the difference. Same kind of, it's the exact same formula. You just kind of go through and see that where the employee contribution, the employer contribution currently versus the renewal versus what this would be. And you can see for the employee, there's not much change, and it's because of that 85% on the base. and not having that big of a spread there. But it does, for the city, there are savings in addition there. It is roughly $13,000 annually for the city here. Then the next page is where we go into the buy down as well as add that fourth plan option. Like I said, additional plan options, typically when we see big increases, that's where you start adding plan options. United Healthcare will let you do up to a maximum of 4 options. So getting to that fourth option could be, you know, some savings for some folks where they want the least expensive option versus the richest benefit. You do not have, which, you know, we don't have a lot of people in this plan. We have 5 employees on here. So it is not a heavily utilized plan. And the changes we make here is both these options exclude Mayo Clinic in them. That's a key to it. We keep the doctor copays the same on both. However, you look at option 1, we do everything the same, except we increase the coinsurance to 80-20 instead of 70-30. Out-of-pocket stays the same, and it's a little bit of savings, and that's coming from Mayo Clinic being excluded from the network. Option 2, you can see where we're changing is the deductible goes up to $3,000. Coinsurance is still at 80-20, so it's a richer benefit on coinsurance than the current plan, and it gets the price down a little bit more. And it's just trying to find those steps down to get, you know, to get it down 38% or 40% or whatever the renewal is. It's not happening, but it's getting it as close as we can without huge jumps in benefits. And you can see it's the same math here that shows how the savings, so the savings to the city, right now it's roughly $35,000 in cost on this buy down. The renewal is $48,000 for the city, where option 1 would be $43,000, and you can kind of see how it just kind of breaks down. And then also you can see for the employee the savings there. So there are savings by going to that. And on the last page, what we did is just put a summary. So look, if, and y'all have seen what the current cost is, what the renewal cost is as a total, and then you can also see what these, if we took the alternate options, what the cost would be and the savings. So like I was saying, if we took the alternate options, it's 10% savings to the city. It's 7% to the employees over the renewal. So it's a 9% total savings. Any questions? Anything I left out?
I just gotta, you know, I know we can't skip ahead, but Mayor, item 7 on the agenda addresses retiring special provision for retirees. That, I mean, is that 3 retirees that we had kind of?
Yeah, that's what
That's what that's going to be. Yeah, I do want to address that. I just. I mean, I just think that for me, if you run those numbers, like we had said a couple of weeks ago, it'd be a $38 increase per current employee who's $38 a month. $38 is $38, but it's not. You know, it sounds like we just gave the employees a raise, and it's like it's gonna get eaten up right here. But, I mean, at this point, to go to the plan where you mentioned where it goes up $15 a month, and that's better, but I mean, the benefits are not, don't match with the, it's just my thought to take the renewal. I know it's a tough pill to swallow, but I do want to address the three retirees. Maybe we can, and that's what we're talking about. You said we don't have to do it by ordinance. I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent on that. We're going to address it later, but I do want us to be able to, let's do something with retirees, increase their benefit.
No, we didn't see anything in the ordinance about health insurance percentages and allocations.
Claire,
Yeah, Mayor, I signed up to speak. I signed up to speak on agenda item 7. And I know we're not on agenda item 7, but like you say, all this ties in. In other words, whatever benefit choices you make, whatever benefit you choose here now for the plan, that would be their same plan. Am I correct in assuming that? They would be under the same plan. Right.
Doesn't change.
So my question is, the gentleman had brought up the Mayo Clinic, that would result in some savings. And I'm not at all familiar with the use or how much the experience is with people in our region using Mayo Clinic. How often does that happen? What would you see or expect, or what would be the drawback in maybe looking at that option to save a little bit of money? I think you said $13,000 saving to the city, which would probably more than offset anything that any cost that you would incur to help those 3 retirees. And if that doesn't negatively affect the benefits for the whole group, then perhaps maybe that would be a viable option. That's just my thoughts. Thank you.
You kind of asking what, how many people would you think are historically utilize the Mayo Clinic out of this employee group? I don't know that.
Yeah.
It's very minimal. It's in Minnesota, right? Minneapolis.
Yeah, and that's not information that, on your size account, that United Healthcare provides to us. So it's you know, if you have 100 or more employees, then there's some requirements to get that drilled down where we can see hospital systems being utilized and so forth. Where in the state of Louisiana, they basically just give you large claimants and monthly claims report. So we can't drill down to that. And I can't, you know, I would hate to speak to what the employees here are doing and where they're utilizing service without knowing it. But I do know, as a whole, we don't get a lot of requests from, you know, making sure that's in the network. Just in general in the region, we don't get a ton of requests from that, and I'm not aware of any of their being any local Mayo Clinic affiliates or anything that could be affected by that. But when we sit down, and that's another thing at open enrollment, no matter what changes occur, you know, our goal, and we already have the days to sit down and do one-on-one meetings with those employees, make sure they understand what's being offered. And if they're trying to decide between a plan that has Mayo Clinic and doesn't, you know, we make sure that, and it'll be in their enrollment guide, they can see that, they will know if it's in or out of the network. We can look up the complete network while we're sitting down with them, so we would have those, we would be able to explain that. The key also, though, you know, depending upon which plan, you know, that one does have, there's one plan, one of the buy downs does have where Mayo Clinic's out, and it's a little bit richer benefit with 6% savings. The other ones that had Mayo Clinic excluded do have higher out-of-pocket maximums as well. That drive some of the savings. So you do have that $2,000 extra in out-of-pocket, which, you know, this year we had a pretty rough claims year. Typically that's not the case, it looks like. But without having a crystal ball and knowing exactly what's going to occur, you can't say, you know, how that would look. But generally, the majority of the employees are using, in what we see as a whole, prescription copays. Those are the things that are utilized the most, which wouldn't be affected by an extra $2,000 in out of pocket. Some would be, though. You know, those who are really utilizing it have maxed out the coverage, then it would affect them. The majority aren't there. They're not there. They're not going to be using that and getting to that point in the out of pocket. But it's possible for any of them, you know, any of us at any time.
And Will, I don't want to put you on the spot. I know we didn't talk about it, but can you tell us a little bit about the stop loss insurance? How we,
like a
situation what we in now with that?
So looking at like a self-funded arrangement? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so, you know, whenever you're fully insured like you are here, everything is built into this premium. So United Healthcare's taking the risk on what's going to occur with the claims and everything and setting it out there. Self-funding on, you know, this size account without having enough employees to spread that risk, like we talked about in a few of our meetings, is since we're in that 51 to 99 employee space, in Louisiana we're considered a large employer for rating. So that means the insurance companies underwrite, look at claims, and so forth. If we're below 50 employees, then we're in what's called the community rated pool. And the community rated pool is where no claims are factored. You're in a pool of everybody your size, less than 50 employees, and it's based on age. They give a rate based on age. And it's up to Blue Cross, United Healthcare, and all the others to assign a rate for that year and say this is how much it is. So it's you know, a different animal altogether to what we're dealing with here, where we're 51 to 99 and we're having to stand on our own, and it's kind of hard to do that. In the good years, it feels really good. In the bad years, we're dealing with it. You know, so if you go into a self-funded arrangement, you can really, you know, you would really feel that pinch right now. So I wouldn't suggest doing that on our size here. And it would also, sometimes you'll see, like you were talking about, through captives, where you can do some self-funding arrangements where you pool together with others. And that's basically what everybody has been done in the past through LMA. So, but it would be tough, you know, because things can happen, you know, and if a big claim comes through, that can be really tough on the city, and you can have, you know, things that are called lasers where they come in and say this one condition we're not covering, and then now it's all on the city. It's a risky proposition unless you have enough, you know, you have to have that law of large numbers to be able to support it. So I would, right now, I would think fully insured market's where we need to be. I know that was a long answer, but. Any other questions?
Anybody have any other questions?
I'm just making sure I'm understanding this. Okay, so the renewal would be the 878 for the base plan.
And
Yeah, for the base plan, yes, ma'am, the 878.
In individually, if they require more benefits, they can opt out to get more benefits through the different options.
Correct.
That's here.
They could go to the buy-up plan, which would be a lower deductible and a little bit richer benefit. Correct. Yeah, currently there's 3 plans. You have this base, which is what the contribution of the city's based off of. And then they can buy up to a little bit richer, and then they can buy down to just a little less rich benefit plan. That's correct.
And based on, and I say this based on the needs, the health needs. Like we may have some younger people that may not have many health issues.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, they suffering from some of the others that might have higher issues. So I'm looking at how the good, you know,
Right.
because even right now, the retirees, they are in a situation where they're looking for some assistance, I would say. But it's that class of people that's putting our insurance up.
That's a
And-
great point. You are, and that is one of the reasons why, it's even considered to do some of these benefit changes, because you got to weigh, the increasing out-of-pocket cost on the plan in claims and how you pay when you go to use it versus the premium being higher. And that's, of course, insurance, and that's how insurance is: lower deductibles, higher premium. In this case, we're looking at out-of-pockets that are a little bit higher, is where you're seeing that cost kind of be, changed here. So, the key is with these out-of-pockets, and just to explain it, just to make sure we all understand it, if I go in the hospital on these plans, and I'm just using that as an example because it's a deductible item, on this base plan, I'm going to further for everybody involved. So that's why I was saying at the beginning is when we see big increases, that's where we see it's more options getting put in the mix to try to spread it so that those are in the situation, like you said, have that least expensive option sitting there and they can go to that.
Within this year's time, is this, do you kind of monitor
Yes,
the
ma'am.
markets? Like you say, we could look for you to do that, monitor
Absolutely.
the markets and see if the premiums and all that is going down, you'll come back and you'll present that to us so we
Absolutely.
can know where we are instead of just waiting in March when we have to renew in April.
No, that's absolutely right. As soon as we get a copy of the renewal, but this is throughout the year we're monitoring. As soon as we get a copy of that renewal, you get it very quickly. As soon as we get it to you, at that point, you go to the market, you're talking to everybody about what's going on with the account. When you have this big of an increase, it takes more of a proactive approach throughout the year to say, okay, you know, right now we're running really well. We look at it 3 months from now, we might not be. We might be, and it's getting prepared so that, like you said, come March or whatever it is, I'm not standing here going, you got a 40% increase, now what? You know, it needs to be where, hey, our claims are running really high. We need to be prepared for what's coming instead of it being a last minute kind of, and I'm not saying that's what's occurred. I'm just saying I don't want that to be the case, because that's not fun for anybody. That's not fun for us. That's not fun for y'all. It's not fair to the employees. We want to make it where we're out in front as far as we can. But we do, and that's one thing we talked about, is monitoring claims throughout the year, because United Healthcare will give you claims every month. We can request those every month and send them. Say, okay, we're running better, worse. And the last claims we've seen is through the end of February, and January and February we're running way better. But traditionally, January and February, most accounts will run way better. And it's because deductibles are calendar year. So everybody's having to start over. You know, you get towards the end of the year and you meet your deductible and out of pocket, and that's when, you know, obviously there's claims going on, but at the same time you might be where you've been putting off that knee surgery, or you've been, you know, whatever, and you go ahead and ramp up towards the end of the year. And at the beginning of the year, they slow back down. So, but we are running better January, February, but it's historically also, when I look 2-3 years back on the claims here, it's as it has been. Yeah, but yes, we will monitor claims, and we will have those discussions throughout the year so that we make sure there's no surprises, and we're planning for the next year.
Just a point of clarification, is it possible for the council to consider in the base plan, and with that alone result in the $13,000 savings to the city?
It would not result in $13,000, and we would have to go back and see if United Healthcare would offer it on the current renewing plan, because I'm not 100% sure if they would on that one. But we'd have to go check. But it would result in savings if they did. Anytime we carve out some of the higher cost providers, that does happen. And that's the one that United Healthcare typically isolates here.
So when you told me 13,000 savings, that was just if an employee selected that option?
If all of them that are currently enrolled in that option, that whichever one it was, and I don't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah, you had 14 employees in the buy-up option.
Okay.
That was where we got the 13,000.
So if all 14 of them, because we moved to that plan for them, went into it, then you would see savings based upon all 14 going into it. Yes, ma'am.
All right, any other questions?
That's it.
Anybody from the audience have any questions? All right. Thank you, Will.
All right, thank you.
And Andrew, and I didn't get your...
Kelly Elliott. Kelly
Oh,
Elliott.
that's Ms. Elliott. Yeah. All right, Ms.
Two
Elliott.
T's on the end.
All right.
I've made that mistake too many times.
You entertain the motion?
I move.
Motion by Councilman Brown. Second by Councilman Lacy. Any objection?
Can I ask what exactly is the motion?
Consider authorize the mayor to engage in Gallagher Insurance to serve as the city agent for the provision of health insurance products for April 1, 2022 policy term.
What plan? I mean, just keep it as is, you know?
Yeah, they're gonna present a plan to the employees on April 1st. And it's up to you.
Each individual employee to choose?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And just in case they weren't wondering, Mayor, what made you choose this particular one?
Well, I did a little homework after speaking with them because they came to me a couple of weeks prior to this, and they've been recommended very highly by other municipalities. And due to the fact that we've been in a situation where we've been hit with a 40% increase, I think we need to change the revenue. And like you said earlier, they are represented here in the West Governors Parish with the parish and with Brewley. I got good recommendations from Baker Mayor and also from St. Louis Mayor.
Thank you.
Well,
A second.
I got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by Councilman Lacy. Any injections? Here now?
Ward, absent. Hubble.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Lacy.
Yes.
Riviere.
Yes.
Motion carried. Thank you. Agenda item 5. Consider authorizing Mayor Lee to take action on renewal of the health insurance coverage for the city employees with an effective date of April 1st, 2021, with the same payment ratio and plans available as the previous years, as recommended by Gallagher Insurance. Second. A motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilman Hubble. Any objections? Hear none?
Ward is absent. Hubble.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
Mrs. Lacy.
Yes.
Riviere.
Yes.
Motion passes. Agenda item 6. Life Liberty National Division regarding voluntary supplemental insurance products for employees. We have 2 representatives from Global Life, 3. Can you identify yourselves?
My name is Tangi Baptiste, and I'm a licensed insurance agent with Globe Life Liberty National.
Good evening, I'm Atasia Hill. I'm a licensed benefits specialist of Globe Life Liberty National.
Good evening. My name is Tammy Davis. I'm a regional agency director for Liberty National Globe Life. I've been with the company for 9 years. I've been in the business for 11.
How y'all doing? All right. Okay, who's gonna do the presentation? And you have some documents you wanna give?
Yeah, you want to go ahead and pass out everything. Well, appreciate Gallagher. Thank y'all. Y'all do a really good job. We're not a life insurance company. What we are supplemental benefits. So some of those deductibles that your employees may have to meet, then we can meet that. Now, every insurance company has something that they do better than everybody else. What we do better than everyone else is life. We have a group term policy that we can only offer through payroll deduction. It is a group term 65. 65, when most people retire, they don't have to pay for the policy anymore, but it covers them to age 100. If they were to leave the town, then their premiums would not go up and their face amount would not go down. We're the only one that have it. They have a couple of other companies out here that do have a group term 100. We do have that one, plus the qualifying age for the group term 65 is 0 to 55. So you have that very short window when it's paid up. So it's a little bit more costly. But we do have the group term 100. That's a companion policy to them, that they just have to keep paying for it. So it doesn't have the paid up option. But it is portable. The face amount will not go down and the premium will not go up. Now, we have been in the business of over 200 years, so we don't have a duck, we don't have a frog, we don't have a cute little lizard or emu or anything like that. But what we do offer for your employees is an added benefit. That's $3,000 worth of accidental death for the employee, $3,000 worth of accidental benefit for the spouse, $1,000 for each minor child that they have in the home. Now, you don't have to pay for this, and they won't have to pay for it. So, and they say you can't give away insurance for free, so every year at their annual, then they will get a bill that say pay $10. They'll never have to pay that bill. We're gonna always come back and renew those policies for your employees as an added benefit, okay? Now, everyone has a discount card. We have one as well, and it's good for vision, hearing, chiropractic care, and prescription drugs. Now, you know that you can't use 2 discounts, but we definitely have gotten a lot of good feedback from my discount card in all the years that I've been with Liberty National. I know he said Bruley. Bruley is one of the places that I actually pitched to, and the decision maker there, when she was looking at her, one of the medications that she was taking, she got a bigger discount just using the discount card than going through her health insurance at the time. So you can't use it in conjunction with everything, anything, but it is a great savings to 1-800 number. They see who's participating in the area and they can take advantage of those discounts. I talked about the life insurance that we have. We also have cancer, we have critical illness, we have accident, we have all the supplemental benefits. And the great thing about it, with things being where they are, the way that they are right now, is that our benefits are paid directly to the employees. So if they have to meet a deductible, if they have to make a car payment, if they have to buy groceries, then that's what these benefits are due for them. I would love to take questions from anyone who would have one.
I was gonna ask you where your yellow shirt was, but that's you don't have an ostrich. So.
No, we don't have the emu. I like him though. He's kind of cool. Yeah. He does some really neat things. Anyone else? And another thing I want to add is, you know, I work for Aflac, I work for Colonia, I work for Jackson, I work for ING, I did all the other companies. The reason that I'm with Liberty National is because the rates are really, really low. We do have that group term that no one else has, and I know that we pay our claims. I actually, since I'm the regional, I file our claims here locally, so they won't be talking to 1-800, who are you? We have a home office that's in McKinney, Texas, but we don't want our people talking to them either, because it's our fiduciary responsibility to take care of our clients. So everybody on my team is trained to file a claim. So, you know, everybody doesn't know what a UBO4 form is, right? So that's what you need to have a claim filed quickly. But you can also use something else, and we tell them what that is. We walk them through the entire process until the check is issued or until they get the money into their bank account. Service is a big part of our benefit package. I've been here for a while. And I don't want anybody in my territory who's not taking care of what they need to take care of, you know? It took me a long time because I'm from Texas. And they be like, where are you from, Shad? I'm like, I'm from here. And they be like, no, you're not from here. So it took me a long time to build up my relationship with the people here, but I know they would feed you and all that other stuff, because where I'm from, Texas, it was very cut and dry. Either they did business with you or they didn't. I had to learn how to eat people's food and be cool with them asking me about my cousin's, you know. But it's been an awesome experience, you know. So we work hard to make sure that our clients know that they can pick up the phone and call us and know that we're going to be here to service them.
Good.
Any questions? No?
Thank you.
Okay.
No question.
Mr. Mayor, are we dismissed?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you. Okay, agenda item 7. Consider authorizing the mayor to take actions to make special provisions for selected retirees who own the city's insurance plan moving forward. Any recommendation? Anybody want to speak? No comments?
I would, like I said a couple weeks ago in our regular meeting, I just think we should do something to our for our retirees if we can. And with renewal being what it is, fairly sizable increase, I think the retirement benefit for it's only 3 retirees. We could up their benefit from 50% to I would say 60%, which would get their increase would fall in line with our rank and file current rank and file employees. And I think that would be. I kind of think it's like the least we could do for our loyal employees. And, they were good employees for 25, 30 years. At this point, that's my recommendation.
Okay, I got Ms. Sheridan.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, I was hoping that perhaps there could have been something, some action taken, some measure taken to kind of soften that blow for those three. I presume you've all been provided with the data, statistics of what this would cost. And savings would be, I don't know what it would, is there a cost to the city up from going from 50 to 60? Has that been calculated? Yeah, I'm sorry. What would be the cost to the city?
Right, came 3,200. I think it's per monthly.
No, that's annual.
No, annual.
For all three?
Yeah,
For all three.
Yes.
So
3,600 annually.
Yeah.
for all three?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then perhaps last regular meeting about, you know, putting a sunset clause on that and not have it in perpetuity, you know, have it to at renewal time to look at it again. Is it Will? Will has already said that so far, January and February look like good claims months, so maybe the experience will ultimately we'll have a good year. So I'm just here to speak on behalf of those three that find themselves in this situation and ask for your consideration and do something to kind of alleviate that blow. Thank you.
Well, I think what the mayor has done with making a decision to find another, some other agents, if you will, to help with monitoring more of our premiums and insurance and being on top of, being on top of it, which I see maybe that was something that wasn't happening in the past. I think we want to be fair across the board. We do have premiums that's going up not only just for the retirees, but also for the current employees that's working and who don't even bring home a salary that's close to the retiree salary. Mm-hmm. And I would want to give it some time. If he says it's looking better, let's maybe come back and revisit it to see going forward before we just make a decision on upping the percentage that we pay, because we got to think about not just the retirees. We have other employees that we have to consider too, and I don't want them to feel slighted about it and say, hey, look, we only make $11 an hour, and our premiums have to go up, but it's not based on their health situations either. It's just based on the reality of the fact that we have a class that has more health issues than others. So I just think we should just maybe revisit it. If we're seeing some better, coming down the line, January and February, the claims is good. Let's see how we are looking the next 6 months.
Still stand by what I say. I think we don't really owe anybody anything. But
Nah, we don't.
I feel like it's a good gesture of gratitude of service to the city. You don't work somewhere for 25, 30 years if you're not doing a good job. At a cost of a little over $3,000 in a whole year to the city, I think that's something that's a small gesture. And in no way am I meaning to slight the some of our current rank and file employees. I just think it's a good gesture and at a really and truly a minimum cost for the city. And an extra $3,200.
And I agree with you that it is, you know, for somebody to be able to work in this environment for 20, 30 years, I'm a product of it, right? It paid my tuition, education. But when they retired and left here, that was the package they received. That was their gift to be able to move forward. So for them to come back and expect us to, I mean, just to make a change for those three. And she said before the mayor even got here, they had people working here. So, you know, for lack of better words, they work very hard in the neighborhoods for pay that I mean, I personally didn't want to work for at that price point. So I think what they received, the packages, the benefits, I think that was very in some cases they depending on who you talk to had a very cushiony parachute. So to just look over all the employees that's making $11 an hour, the big fight was what when everybody was coming up here campaigning for our vote to push minimum wage to $15. So just to say they just reached more than $10 in the past 3 years, I think we need to do some cleaning up elsewhere before we deal with the ones that have paved the way. We need to deal with the ones that's actually working hard today.
And even you said yourself, we just gave them a raise, so it's just like we're gonna take it away.
Took it away.
Like, we gotta do what's fair across the board. Now, we can figure out something that's across the board fair,
Right.
then yeah, but
But for the select retirees, even those words, you know, special provisions for select, it was a problem when we had, when the mayor had chosen, well, not even the mayor, I want to say you got with the department heads at that time to select, that was when Mr. Terry was even, they handpicked certain employees, they thought they fell raises, and there was a lot of backbiting and just a lot of complaining over using that tactic to improve the system. So I mean, this is the same situation, and you know, just treat it the same. If we're not taking care of everybody, let's just put it to the side, like Ms. Clerice said, and just once Gallagher comes back with some updated information.
Well, two things. I think, you know, if we do bump up their retirement benefit to cover 60% of the cost, that'll kind of level everything out. Every retiree employee, their insurance will go up $38 a month. I think that's fair. That's the way you look at it. To me, that way, that's fair. But then include the sunset clause, which has been referred to, where we can revisit it. But for now, it's just, I just think that's fair. Everybody's across the board will go, you know, $38. That's again, that's my thought, and I'm prepared. I'll make a motion. The retirement benefit to cover the coverage of the cost of our share from 50 to 60% monthly. That's my motion.
When you're looking at this and you're considering 3 select retirees, and because of HIPAA and everything, I can't say everything, but all 3 of them, is my understanding, that have medical issues. Now, fairly, the rest, let's say the vast majority of the employees don't have those issues.
As of today.
As of today. It could happen in the next 5 minutes. But again, I think these people deserve this added benefit.
Added benefit. So they already have a benefit.
Selected people in the city, like the sewer, the gas, the drink. Could we consider giving them a raise?
Drainage.
Just those people, not the whole city, just those.
Okay, we gotta speak one at a time.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
What's the question?
Could we consider just giving those select people a raise? The ones that this may affect the most? I mean, we could consider that then, okay.
No, everybody got a raise. It was across the board.
But it's being wiped away.
Okay.
That's the whole
Well,
point.
you know, I'm not an insurance regulator.
Neither am I.
can't-
Never claimed to
I
be.
can't do anything about the price. All the issue here is you have 3 retirees that need a little help. You're asking for a little help. I mean, you're looking at what? $3,600 a year?
For a
Right
man
there,
that
yeah.
claimed to be a stewardess of the pennies or the dollars that never like to spend, what's the difference now?
I spend what's on right.
Opinion.
Yeah, that's your opinion. It's a
Perspective.
fact on my side.
Perspective.
But, okay, Hootie's made the motion. Without further ado on me, I second his motion.
I said we revisit it in the next 6 months. And let's just see. It may work out for everybody. It seemed like we're going in a forward direction. Let's just see.
So you mean table? You want to table this motion?
You want a substitute motion
Substitute,
Yeah.
to table it? Okay, I got a motion to table, substitute motion to table.
second.
Got a second by Mr. Brown. Any objections? Hear none?
Regarding that,
Yeah, state the substitute motion.
Vote in the audience.
All right, anybody from the audience wish to be heard on this agenda item? Yes, ma'am.
I certainly didn't mean to imply that the current employees be hurt by this. The city is putting up an additional, how much?
120 plus.
120,000. Not to hurt the current employees. It's not at all my hope or my objective, my aim. I was just hoping that perhaps maybe for a specified temporary period of time, that these people that find themselves in this position could get a little bit of help. Thank you.
Mr. Alvarez.
Anybody else? Okay, I got a motion by, a substitute motion by Councilman Lacy and a second by Councilman Brown to table this issue. Any objections? Hearing none?
Ms. Gordon absent. Hubble.
No.
Mr. Brown.
Yes?
Mrs. Lacy.
Yes.
Mr. Riviere.
No.
Mayor, you have break time.
All right. Based on the fact that I have already spoken with Councilman Gordon and she wasn't in favor of this, I'm gonna go ahead and table it for another meeting. So we'll go ahead and table it. Agenda item 8. Consider authorizing for the expenditures of funds for payment of third parties.
Council, this is related to the matter we had in executive session last meeting. We have confirmed, we had this as a placeholder just in case. We have confirmed that there is money in the budget, so we don't actually need any type of budget amendment or specific authorization in the budget. So the mayor is authorized to proceed.
I'll move.
Got a motion by Councilman Riviere, second by Councilman Hubble. Any objections? Hearing none?
Gordon absent. Ms. Hubble.
I'm sorry, could we,
Mr. Brown, this was related to the last agenda item, the executive session we held last meeting. We had this as a placeholder. We were looking to see if we needed to use money around this order to effectuate the council's action at last meeting, and we determined that we don't need to, so we are proceeding, but we just wanted to make the council aware that we are proceeding with
conservative.
You have to do the vote.
Ms. Gordon Johnson, Mr. Hubble,
Yes.
Mr. Brown,
Yes.
Ms. Lacy,
Yes.
Mr. Riviere.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 9, consider providing funding to assist with the Portland High School Championship celebration currently planned for April 11th, 2021. Mr. O'Shea.
Got here with Port Allen High School administration, and we're very, very pleased. We have several teams who have made us proud. First of all, the boys basketball team who are state champions, the girls powerlifting teams who are multiple year state champions, and of course, the boys basketball team is 2-year state champions. And we're trying to plan a celebration for them. We do have contributions from the various businesses throughout the city. We'd like to get some dollars from the city. We're planning a parade, hopefully. We're just excited about what we're doing because it's an exciting time for us. I'm trying to think about for that day, we wanted to do a parade early in the day, not to have anybody necessarily to walk, but use floats and try to encourage social distancing. We do have someone that's going to contribute a special meal for the basketball team, working on something for the powerlifting. Our biggest issue is to try to pay for the parade and some entertainment that we want to have at Lee Park, and we asking the city for some support.
Yeah, I mean, it's long overdue for them. Well, they got,
We didn't get a chance to
yeah, do it
celebrate
last year.
So we got that.
They
team
repeated.
Celebrating this year, plus the one that won the championship from last year. So it is exciting, and the parents will be, I think the one from the team last year, even the one player that's not here.
Georgetown?
Yeah, probably would be to be present. The
that'd
parents
be
will
good.
be here. The parish has been excited about doing things. They've done things for them, and we want the city to step up and do something for the city because the parish has already done it. Of course, this is Port Allen High School.
Right, it's our namesake technically, right? It's our namesake, right? Port Allen, so.
So yeah, they've taken ownership and done something, and they're very, very excited about, of course, about being a part of the championship season for our champions. And we're following it, and we're celebrating all the winners athletically at Port Allen High School.
Do you have a dollar amount in mind that y'all road?
After all, they let me put this in there. They do deserve it, by all means. They have been a great representation to the city of Port Allen and to the parish of West Baton Rouge. And last year, which is true, they were kind of stripped of the celebration because of the COVID. And there are funds, if I'm correct, that's for, we haven't had any events because of the COVID. So I believe that we should just definitely be supportive. The city should be supportive in this and making sure that we recognize them for their achievements and know that the city, have love and respect for what they have done and want to make sure they understand that we giving back. So once they become successful, that they could want to give back to the city as well.
On and off the court too, what they done, because they are student athletes too. We sometimes forget that, to be able to just juggle being a student is hard, but to actually put in the work and the dedication that they did as athletes, kudos to them.
So, I mean, we were going to ask about $4,000.
No, I'm all for it. 'Cause look,
And that's good for the awards and other stuff.
I appreciate everything Mr. Jackson, Coach Jones, Coach Bizet, they are great representatives, it's like ambassadors for the city of Port Allen. And I was at the championship game. We couldn't go to the semifinal game because the mayor had made us come up.
Oh, yeah.
But no, Fourth, I have no
If we
problem
don't
with
get
it.
money in that athletic fund that was already there, so that's why we were asking for it.
That's it.
I think that would kind of take care of us, once again, whatever we don't spend, and the dollars are coming in, it'll be right there, we only want to use it for what we don't
Same warning as always with this time, just to make sure we're not running afoul of a constitutional prohibition against donation against public funds, as long as the city finds that there's benefit that it's receiving from contributing and helping assisting with this celebration is equivalent to the value that you're giving up, then there would be no violation.
And it's not actually giving them a check, we're actually paying for it.
Correct. Participate, help, essentially your help,
Putting on.
putting on the
Right,
celebration.
exactly.
Yeah. And it's an event that people in the community can attend as well. So I don't see any issue.
I motion.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion by Councilman Lacy, second by Councilman Riviere, for $4,000 for the championship celebration. Any objections? Anybody else wish to be heard? And vote?
Mr. Gordon is absent. Hubble,
Yes.
Brown,
Yeah.
Mrs. Lacy,
Yes.
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 Motion passes. Thank you. Agenda item 10, announcements. I just want to advise everybody that this Friday is Good Friday. We'll be closed. We work half a day on Thursday, get off at noon, and we will be back to work the following Monday. I want everybody to have a good Easter weekend. I also want to keep Miss Holmes in y'all prayers as she recovers from her illnesses. You know, she was a big one of our, I guess, leaders for the Neighborhood Watch program, and she's been missed very much because we haven't had a meeting at all this year. So, and also she's on the Planning and Zoning Board. But from what I'm hearing, she's doing pretty well. Anybody else have any other announcements? No. Okay, we go to agenda item number 11, adjourn.
I move.
I got a motion by Councilman Brown, second by